Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Lee Sharon, and this is the kitchen here at Old Tavern Farm. It is a busy time of year. We are in the middle of September, and the garden is sort of petering out. It's still a little bit humid and warm here in Zone 5B, and there's cobwebs everywhere, and we're still dodging mosquitoes and flies. But after tomorrow, it's going to really turn off to be like fall, and I've got tons of food preservation to do, tons of baking to do for my sidewalk cart service that I do every Friday. And as part of that, which is one of the reasons I'm wearing this gorgeous babushka, is I'm making granola today. I'm not going to go into super depth with this because it's really more about the technique and not as much about the recipe. But I'm going to give you a baseline recipe. So what I have in my pot here is 2 cups of water, 2 sticks of butter, an 1/8 of a teaspoon of, this is, what is this, nutmeg, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and into this pot I am going to add 2 cups of sugar, a cup of sunflower seeds, kernels, and a 1/2 cup of ground flaxseed. Now, the ground flaxseed is kind of one of the little secrets to this granola. I used to make this back when I was a specialty baker at a private university here in my region, and the students used to come in with Tupperware containers and take it out of the cafe in their backpacks because they liked it so much. But that is one of the secrets. The ground flaxseed works as a binder to make those nice clusters that you get in granola that aren't adulterated with puffed rice and stabilizers and preservatives and other add-ins that you're not really looking for when you're looking for a nice clean cereal. Don't get the whole flaxseed. Whole flaxseed is kind of useless, really. Not a lot of people realize this, but whole flaxseed just goes right through you, kind of like whole corn. If you want the benefits of flaxseed, you need to get the ground version, and that's what I have here. So anyway, I'm going to put the recipe to this down below just so you can reference it, but we're going to dump that into the pot here with the water, the butter, and the spices. And then I am going to take this over to my stove, and I'm going to bring you along with you. So let's go over to the stove. So now I have my pot here on my stove, and you can see the sticks of butter, sugar, etc. that we just went over. I'm just going to bring this to a boil. And what happens when you bring the water to a boil and this mixture to a boil is the ground flaxseed starts to sort of cook, and it emits a sort of glutinous type of material. And in fact, you have to look it up, but you can actually use ground flaxseed as an egg substitute because of its binding properties. But you just want to bring this to a boil. Okay, so now my mixture is boiling. And again, anytime you have sugar in anything, just be sure not to walk away from it. I have turned this down to low. And basically, you just want to cook it like this until it starts to boil down a little bit. And when I say boil down, I mean that it's not boiling as hard as it was when it was on high. And it is starting to slow down on its boiling. As you can see, it's starting to slow down here. Okay, so what you're looking for, you're just going to basically cook this on low for about 5 minutes. You're not really trying to reduce it. I actually have a apple cider reduction over here. It looks a little sinister, but this is the base for apple cider donuts. And so that is what I'm making over here. But I'm not reducing it. I'm just cooking it down and allowing that starch that's in the ground flaxseed to start to cook. And, after about 5 minutes, you'll start to see a change. Okay, so what I have done is I have prepared this sheet pan right here with spray olive oil. Remember, canola oil and seed oils come in this aerosol form too. So try and get them out of your life in these too. It's not that much more expensive. So olive oil. I normally would use parchment paper on my sheet pans, but for this technique, this is the best way to get the most crunch and to get the nicest browning and caramelization. And I've got my bowl here. Here's my 10 cups of rolled oats. And at this point, I'm going to add a little, about a tablespoon of vanilla. If you add vanilla into your cooking liquid, your syrup, some of the flavor can boil off. And so you want to have that nice fresh vanilla flavor. So add it into this stage right here. And then I'm going to add the syrup to this and we'll be on our way. Okay. So we're just going to add the syrup. And that is kind of what we're doing here. We are kind of doing a candy. We're sort of candying our oats. This will stick. Just take a spoon or something. I'm not going to bore you with that part of it, but this isn't the best. If you hear a siren in the background, that's our fire whistle going off in the village. But I'm already, at this point, committed to this video, so I'm going to let you hear the fire whistle. Okay, so then we're just going to toss the syrup with the oats and just toss it around. And it will seem really stiff and gluey. That's okay. That's totally normal. Again, this is a base granola, so you can add in at the end whatever you want. But the secret, another secret of good granola is you want to cook your base separate from your add-ins, okay? So don't try to cook your any nuts or anything that is going to burn because this is a two-step bake process. So you're going to do one bake, you're going to put this on your sheet pan and you're going to spread it out and you're going to bake it, and then you're going to take it out, let it cool, toss it, and then bake it again. Okay, so we'll get there, and I hope this video is not going to be too long for you, but you get the idea, and then you can kind of take it from there and make it your own. I'm going to spread this out on my sheet pan. So here is the mixture, and we're just going to push it to the edges. We're trying to get it as thin a layer as you can. And if it's a thicker layer, you have a smaller pan, that's fine. You just kind of bake it a little bit longer. All right, I'm going to take it over to the oven. So the pan of granola has now come out of the oven and has cooled for about 10 minutes. And what you can see here is if I take my bench, these bench scrapers are really handy. I just pull it up at the edge of the pan and you can see it holds a shape, basically. And that's all you're going to do is you're going to just toss it, chunk it and toss it, I call. Chunk it and toss it. Just kind of shake it around the pan, toss it, turn it, move it over, just kind of reposition it. Even if you use your bare hands, that's fine. I try not to shake it up too much because I like these big chunks that you get when you let it kind of you're not too vigorous with it. So that's what we're looking for, just a rough chunk like this right after that first bake and cool. Then it's going to go back in the oven for another 20 minutes, 20 to 30. This last actually baked for 30 minutes. 30 minutes at 350. And we're going to do the same thing, just kind of rough single layer, another bake and another cool. So after the second bake and I've let it cool, you can hear how dry it is? Okay, so you're basically twice baking it. You do that also with biscotti, twice bake. And so at this point, this is where I like to put what I call my add-ins. So I'm adding craisins, dried cranberries, and coconut, just flaked coconut. I don't even get the sweetened kind because you just don't need it. But I just sprinkle it in. and then I just toss it. So here is my dish of granola. I am going to take a little of this batch and have some for my lunch. This goes great over yogurt or custard or ice cream, anything that you have that you like. Again, as always, use what you have. This recipe makes a lot of granola. For me, it's not a lot because I bake commercially, but for the average person, it's a lot of granola, and it does last forever. You just put it in, I just put it in a glass apothecary jar and set it on the counter, and people just help themselves. So I want to thank you guys again, as always, for coming to visit me here at Old Tavern Farm. Go out and make this base recipe your own. And again, please share my videos with your friends. Come back and see me here again. Until next time. Bye-bye. I'm Lee Sharon, and this is Old Tavern Farm, and I just said that. I literally just said that, yeah. Wow, I'm just throwing stuff all over the place here.